Hey everybody, Kevin here from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube channel, and today we're going to be doing a band review on my favorite band when I was in middle school and growing up. It's Disturbed. Sorry if I butcher that. Alright, so here's how this band review is going to go. First, I'm going to give you my history with the band, how I started listening to them, how it went throughout my life, and where the band stands with me today. Second, I'm going to go through each album a little bit, highlighting some songs, highlighting the style, and really talking about it so you get a sense of what Disturbed actually is, even though you probably already know. Third, I'm going to go through my favorite part of the band and why, and my least favorite part of the band and why. Fourth, I'll give you what my favorite song by Disturbed is, and I'll give you my reasoning. Lastly, I will rate the band on a scale of 0 to 10, of course 0 being the worst, 10 being the best band in the whole world. And I will give you my reasoning why. So enough with that, let's go! Alrighty, so I first found out about Disturbed when I was in 7th grade around the year 2007, because that's when Guitar Hero 3 dropped, and at the time I was playing a lot, and I mean a lot of Guitar Hero. Mostly because that was one of my favorite games at the time, and I loved playing along a bunch of the songs. If you go to the 7th section in Guitar Hero 3, you had songs like Before I Forget by Slipknot, Threes and Sevens by Queens of the Stone Age, Knights of Sidonia by Muse, but the one that stuck with me the most was Stricken by Disturbed. I was playing that all the time. I could never get it down on hard because that solo was way too hard for me, even on hard. But I still love playing it because I love the sound of the song. I love the distortion of the guitar and how the song flowed. I could not get enough of David Draymond's voice because it was something completely different than anything I have ever heard in my entire life. I thought it was cool, thought it was great, and I thought I gotta listen to more of this band. As 2008 hit in the beginning, I ended up getting the 10,000 Fists CD, listening to 10,000 Fists a whole lot, and I got really into the band. I'm like, now this is what I like. And around 2008, again, that's when Indestructible dropped. I got the album right when it came out, and I love listening to all the songs, and I thought it was great, thought it was fantastic. Now I'm in 8th grade at this point, and when I was in 8th grade, we were able to bring in some music sometimes when we had like this person of the week type thing. You know, we'd have like a resource period. You could play music, and everyone was bringing in pop stuff like Justin Timberlake or Lady Gaga, and that really wasn't my thing. So I brought in Indestructible by Disturbed. We got through the first 2 songs. We got through Indestructible and Inside the Fire, and that's when it cut out because the teacher did not want to hear any more. Note, I went to a Catholic school, so of course they're not going to want to know this stuff. Of course they're not going to want to hear it. I remember that, I remember when I was in 8th grade again, they sent a letter home saying, you know, their son's kind of listening to some music that we don't really appreciate or approve of or like. Do you know your son is listening to this? And my parents are like, yeah, we do. That's his style. That's what he likes to listen to. He's not a bad kid, and you know he's not a bad kid. He likes that kind of music. And I was infatuated by it. Plus, one thing that it also helped me out with was no one else liked that kind of music. So everyone kind of had me as that little bit of an outcast, or actually a big part of that outcast of the group. But I really enjoyed it because I was happy with who I was becoming because the music gave me confidence in myself, and I just kept rolling with it. When I got into high school, however, I really didn't listen to Disturbed all that much because I got into a different band much more throughout high school, and that's my favorite band of all time, Rise Against. But I never stopped listening to Disturbed. I kept listening to them on and on and on. Fast forward to 2016, and I started getting them a little bit more because I started listening to the whole Immortalized album during an internship, and I was blown away by it. I thought this was fantastic. I love listening to The Light, The Sound of Silence, Immortalized, The Vengeful One. I mean, I could go on and on and on about songs that are on the album that I listened to. Also, it has a very positive memory to it because that summer was one of the best summers I've ever had. And kept listening to them. Before my last final, I listened to 3 songs, if I remember correctly. One of them was Indestructible by Disturbed because I could not get enough of it. It got me pumped. I know I listened to Savior by Rise Against, and I don't remember what the third one was off the top of my head, but I know those 2 are in there. Now today, I still listen to the band on a regular basis. They're a consistent player on my workout playlist and in my consistent daily listening, so they're still in there, guys. I think in my top bands of all time that I love, I think they're ranked number 2 or 3. They always flip-flop around there, but they're high, guys. They're really high on that list. So the first album that Disturbed came out with was at the turn of the millennium in 2000 with The Sickness, and the band hit the pavement hard and just ran with it, and they became popular off of their debut album. Mostly there were two songs on that they really became popular off of. One, I'm going to go with Stupefy, because that's, I believe, the first song David Draiman and the band ever recorded together, and that's what came out. So you knew something was there. You knew something was good. The distortion of the guitar on Stupefy is something that when you listen to it, you think, yeah, this is definitely a Disturbed song. And you hear David Draiman's voice, which is something completely different, and as you go through the song, it builds that mold that Disturbed would become, and just basically creates their own sound, and it's utterly fantastic. I'm not lying, it is great. When we go into the most important song off the album, which of course is Down with the Sickness, which put the band on the map, instrumentally, it's pretty standard, pretty simple. There's not a lot of complexity going on there, but David Draiman has three big parts in this. Of course, when he hits that oh wah, ah, ah, in the intro, that just brings you in, and has like, wow, I am not ready for that, but I am glad I heard that. Then you go into the chorus where you really get to hear that voice of his come out. And also there's that part in there where it sounds like he's complaining about something about like his mom beating him or something. But it really, you can hear that voice and you can hear the sound of what Disturbed is going to be. The album itself, the rest of it, I'm not necessarily that much into, but those two songs really put the band on the map and started to mold their sound into what they would become. Disturbed then dropped Believe, their second studio album, back in 2002, 2 years after The Sickness. And this one was not as well commercially received as The Sickness was, because there wasn't a song on there that really stood out. But what this album had was consistent flow, and Disturbed showing what they were good at and finding that sound and really doubling down on it. A lot of the songs are the same, where they have that faster pace kind of instrumentation, faster paced melodies. You can hear the distorted guitar in almost every single song. If you want a great example of this, listen to Prayer. I think that was the lead single off of that album. The distorted guitar in the beginning lets you know it's a Disturbed song, and if you listen to David Draiman's vocals, you can hear him sing, and that is something that is utterly amazing, because it is a sound that is never ever duplicated. It's a sound like, I'm going to put Freddie Mercury in as the example, not because they sound the same, but because you cannot duplicate that kind of a voice. It is impossible. And when it's, you know, a little bit more that screaming vocals or just his regular singing voice, wow. I mean, it stands out here. And most of the rest of the songs sound the same in a similar context, but Darkness is the one at the end, and that is a completely different sound. It's more of a ballad sound because it's more piano driven, and it's more focused on David Draiman's vocals, and you can hear him sing powerfully, and it is just incredible to hear. It's something that you're not expecting, but it's something that really pierces your soul, which of course we will see later on in their discography, but it's seen here as well. Overall, Believe was the album that they really began to find that sound and really hone down on it, and as many people weren't the biggest on this album, it was necessary for them to get that craft down. The band came out with 10,000 Fists, their third studio album in 2005, and it's a little different than the other two based on the melody and the tempo of the songs. If you listen to those songs, they're a little bit faster paced than the other two albums that previously came out, and I think it really works well on this album. If you listen to songs like, I could go on and on about Deify, I'm Alive, Sons of Plunder, Pain Redefined, those are songs that are just in that album that are great, and you can hear a full range of how the band goes with their distorted guitar, their instrumentation, a little bit of a faster pace, David Draiman's vocals. But if you're going to look at this album, I got to look at three particular songs. Two that really kind of follow that mold, and one that I was not expecting, but wow, did it set up a precedent for something great. First, let's look at the lead single, 10,000 Fists, the titular song, and it is a lot faster pace, a much faster tempo, and that's shown in the instrumentation. The drums are a lot quicker, a lot more rapid. That distorted guitar really hits hard, and it's very much a faster pace. David Draiman's vocals are a lot more raspy when he's trying to do more screaming sound on this one, but it works here. It really gets you amped up, and it's a classic Disturbed song. Let's go into Stricken. I mentioned it earlier. The distorted guitar is a little bit more melodic in this one compared to 10,000 Fists. It is a little bit of a slower pace, but when you listen to the song, that distorted guitar stands out incredibly. It is something that you just listen to, you're like, wow, that is a Disturbed song. When you get to David Draiman's vocals, though, That's when you can really hear him just have those powerful vocals, the ones that just stand out to you and are just pierce your soul because you don't hear anything else like it. It is utterly amazing listening to that man sing. I've said it before and I keep saying it again. I cannot stop saying it because his vocals in that one are very, very powerful with a singing voice. Less screaming though. And also there's in there, and it is, it's just nice. And the last one I'm talking about on this album is their cover of Genesis's Land of Confusion. Now, this set up a huge precedent for the band because when they do covers, they don't just do covers. They take the covers, leave the originals to be their own and respect them, but then they take it in a different direction a little bit and make it their own so both songs stand on their own. If you listen to Peter Gabriel Genesis version and you listen to the David Draiman Disturbed version of Land of Confusion, you're going to hear different sounds coming out of them, but you can just still feel that sound, and you can feel the mood, and you can feel the message that that song is trying to provide, and they are just utterly great songs. And the fact that you can take a song, cover it, and make it something into your own, and both are still fantastic, wow, I mean, that's amazing. I've only ever seen Disturbed really do that on a consistent basis, and it showed here, and it was a start of something fantastic. 10,000 Fists is one hell of an album, so if you haven't checked it out, my God, what are you guys doing? Check it out, but I know most of you have, so hell yeah. Towards the end of the 2000s, Disturbed released Indestructible, the album they released in 2008. Of course, I mentioned it earlier, saying I was between 7th and 8th grade when the album came out, maybe closer to 8th grade, but I listened to it and I was blown away by it. This is my favorite album by Disturbed. I think it's because this album shows the most amount of range for the band. And it is something that is utterly fantastic because you listen through all the songs and it's just, you can pick something out about each and every song. I don't want to go through each and every song because again, this is going to be an album review then. So let's go through a couple. The one I really want to go through first is Indestructible, the titular song, because it starts out with this incredible, just, emergency siren and just a rampage. Then you get that guitar to come in and the instrumentation. It's a slower pace than what 10,000 Fists was. It's kind of on par with where Stricken was, but it's got this great sound. And then you hear David Draiman actually singing more on this whole entire track. And it is a powerful song that just really just makes you want to get up and just start going. That's why I listened to it right before my last final. Inside the Fire is another one, and this one is a more personal one for the band because it goes into David Draiman suffering through a girlfriend who committed suicide when he was 13 and going through those suicidal tendencies himself. And this is a song that really goes out there to talk about it. What I love about this song is it is not a classic suicide sounding song. Most of the songs you sound like that are very melodic and very powerful with very powerful driven lyrics. That has it Inside the Fire, those powerful lyrics, but it is a much faster paced song. You can hear it in the guitar, the drums pick up the BPMs, and David Draiman gets more of that throat in there with that, ooh, Devin, we'll go to heaven. I mean, I know I butchered that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He gets more into that throat singing and just, woo, just puts it out there. And then the chorus, actually just giving that David Draiman full-on vocals. Oh man, is that one hell of a song. It's fantastic. You can hear a more melodic sounding version of, basically what the band's doing on The Night, a much faster version on Perfect Insanity. If you listen to enough, you kind of get a mix of all those. Again, this song and this album and everything on here is just fantastic through and through. You can listen to it front to back. You're not going to find a bad song. I absolutely love this album. This is my favorite one, and it shows the band is A, mature with their sound, and B, can expand out into a couple of different areas when it comes to messing with it. If it's beats per minute, if it's, again, pace like I just said, but again, BPM, and if it's, just kind of stylistically, they can really do a lot here. The band's fifth album, Asylum, came out in 2010, and this one was not as well received by the fans as the others were, and I thought, let's go and really look into it and take a listen, and I kind of struggle to find why it's really not as good as the other ones, because when I listen to it, the sound is very mature from that classic Disturbed sound. They really got a hold of it and put it all together. You listen to the song like Asylum, and it's a much faster pace. You get David Draiman get those more harsh vocals in there. When you listen to The Animal, it's a slower paced, but still kind of, in that pace of like where Indestructible would be. And David Draymond's singing voice is very much prevalent in that song. Crucify is another good song on this album that I think is fantastic. But when I listened to it, I was trying to figure out exactly why it wasn't as popular as the other albums. I think it suffered from the exact same problem that Believe had. And that's because there really wasn't a song that jumped out at you. When we go back to The Sickness, Down with the Sickness was the song that just jumped straight out in your face. If you listen to 10,000 Fists, I believe that was Stricken. If you go to Indestructible, it's Indestructible and Inside the Fire. Those just latch out at you and just bring you in, and you can't get enough of them. But Believe and Asylum really didn't have sounds or songs that really brought you in as much as those did. So I think that's kind of what it suffered from. And also, after this album came out, the band went on a couple of year hiatus, which I think may have been a cause of why that didn't have a real sound that just, Asylum, boom, here it is. It kind of stuck in a weird spot for a while. So then when the band went on that hiatus, we were kind of waiting, is Disturbed going to come back? Because we all missed that sound. We missed that instrumentation, that distorted guitar, and David Draymond's vocals. We all missed it. So thank God for 2015. In 2015, Disturbed dropped Immortalized after that 5-year hiatus. This was going to be their 6th studio album, and when it came out, oh my lord, this was what we wanted. We wanted this kind of an album. We listened to songs like Immortalized, The Vengeful One, God, I'm trying to think of some other ones. Open Your Eyes and Save Our Last Goodbye. It shows that just fantastic sound that it's back. The distorted guitar is in there once again to make you know it is a Disturbed song. The tempo changes at times from between songs, and it is a great thing. And the best part about it is it shows that David Draymond's vocals have not wavered. He can still hit every single note after 15 years. And it is, whew, man, was it awesome to hear. Now I gotta go into 2 songs specifically. I have to go into The Light. The Light is my favorite song off of the album because it has a much slower melodic pace than the other songs that are more classic Disturbed songs do. The guitar doesn't stand out as much, but what stands out in here mostly is, again, Draymond's vocals, because they are powerful. When you hear them in the verses, it's kind of a little bit lower, and then it gets to that more, classic David Draymond's vocal singing sound. The chorus, he really just belts it out here, and oh man, it just drives right in you. Plus, the message behind this song, again, was after a couple of years, was something that I really need to listen to, and this song helped bring me back to who I am. So I have a personal connection to this song, which I absolutely love, and it's that kind of a song. It really works here. Now, I can't go without talking about the Sound of Silence cover because, oh my lord, is it one of the best covers, if not the best cover song I have ever heard in my entire life. This is not knocking Simon & Garfunkel's original version, because that version has its own sound and it's very eerily creepy, but it's also beautiful at the same time. When you listen to the Disturbed version of it, of course, it's all about David Draymond in this one, again, because those vocals are really what drives it. He produces something that brings out that haunting beauty of the song and really, again, drives it into your soul. I've heard a lot of people listening to this when they've gone through bad times, me included. And you look at the instrumentation in it, you don't get that classic Disturbed instrumentation, but man, do they play it off so well. The drums, kind of that just kettle, just whoosh, the cymbals, oh wow. The guitars, if they do acoustic, the pianos, man, it is the perfect cover song because it doesn't take away from anything in the original version, and it creates something completely on its own, and both are fantastic. So I gotta give them a lot of credit here. This was one hell of an album, and thank God they came out with it. I was so happy that they came back with this one. In 2018, Disturbed came out with Evolution, the 7th studio album, and this one I think was a little bit of a misstep for the band. It is my least favorite album out of the 7. It just doesn't necessarily fit here. Granted, I know what Disturbed was going for here. After that Sound of Silence really took off and hit in pop culture, they wanted to bring more of an audience into their sound. So they're going to make a more wide-ranging album to really bring it in. And by wide-ranging, I mean they double down on that Sound of Silence sound. It was kind of ballady and kind of all over the place, which, again, I totally get why they did it. But there are some songs that just really don't work here. If I listen to a song like Are You Ready, the first song they released off of the album, man, I was jacked for this album because I love that song. One of my workout playlists 2 days after I heard it, it's still on there, and I just get amped up when I hear it because it's a classic Disturbed song, and David Draymond's vocals hit it once again. Now, when it comes to more of the ballad songs, I get that A Reason to Fight is a good song. It really hits that Inside the Fire and the Light version where it comes to bringing in something that's very personal to the band and personal to David Draymond as well. I think this one was about someone fighting opioid addiction, and it really kind of brought it out there. Hold On to Memories is actually a ballad that really is touching, and David Draymond's vocals is what brings it out. Of course, that's what the band is. It's their sound and David Draymond's vocals. But if you listen to the rest of it, I kind of get lost throughout it because there's really no other song that is kind of that classic Disturbed sound than Are You Ready? And the ballads, while I said A Reason to Fight and Hold On to Memories are really good, I just really haven't gotten into the album at all. So it just kind of brought me out because I loved Immortalized. I loved 10,000 Fists. I absolutely loved Indestructible. And man, it just kind of took a little bit out of my sails, a little bit of the wind out of the sails, actually. But I get why the band did it. It's not an issue for them to want to experiment and bring in more on audience. I just wish that they would have gone a little bit less ballady and gone a little bit more with their classic sound so they could have more to really cater to the classic fans that absolutely love them. Now on to my favorite part about Disturbed, and I've been raving about it throughout the whole entire video so far, and that is the vocal sound that David Draymond can produce. If I am correct on this, before David Draymond tried out for Disturbed, he was training to become a rabbi, and that's why he can create that sound that he does. It is absolutely fantastic, and I want to thank David Draymond for trying out for Disturbed because, man, you guys created something that was just out of this world. When you listen to songs like Down with the Sickness, you can hear that, oh, wow, and it just kills it. It just kills it. When you listen to a song like Indestructible, it's more of a straightforward singing sound, and it works out so well. The Light just brings in that powerful vocal that he can produce, and the Sound of Silence can show that his voice can change up anything. I know I equated him to Freddie Mercury earlier, and I have to do it again here, because I'm not saying that their vocals are the same, but I'm using those as an example because you have Freddie Mercury and David Draymond. There are two guys that have such a unique voice that it is unseen by anybody else. No one can reproduce it. It's something that is completely their own, and it is fantastic. The other thing I love about this band is what it did for me in middle school because it gave me so much confidence in becoming who I am. While everyone was listening to Beyonce and Justin Timberlake and Lady Gaga and all the pop music that was going on and some of the rap like with Kanye. And here's me loving the band Disturbed. Of course I was teased. Of course I was made fun of for it. But man, did that help me turn into the person I am today and give me all the confidence, and I have to thank the band for that wholly because I could not have done it without them. Another thing I dislike most about the band is their most recent release, Evolution. Just because it didn't really sit well with me. I get, again, what they were trying to do, but it was just way too ballady for me because I think they were trying to get that Sound of Silence crowd that really brought them in. It's like, okay, we can do this and be a little bit more radio friendly in a sense. I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me, mostly because I do get that some of the ballads on there are good, but I wish they would have put a couple more songs on there that had that classic sound like they did with Are You Ready? Again, that's like the one knock I really have on this band, and maybe that hiatus they took for 5 years because I really wanted the new music in between then, but I never got it. Outside of that, I really don't have any other grievances to air with this band. I love them. Alrighty, so time for my favorite song by the band. I had a little bit of deliberation to go through this one because I do enjoy Down with the Sickness, of course. I did enjoy Prayer off of Believe. 10,000 Fists and Stricken are utterly fantastic. Inside the Fire, man, does that one hit hard. And The Light and the Sound of Silence, you cannot pass those up. But if I'm picking my favorite song, it is Indestructible because it is that perfect balanced song. You have that crazy intro with the horns going off and just like it's an emergency, then the band gets into it and you can tell, yeah, this is going to be a hard-hitting Disturbed song, and it just keeps that consistent flow. David Draymond's vocals are perfect here because he doesn't overdo it with his classic voice. He can just bring in his singing voice and not overpower everything, and it fits so well here. Plus, that distorted guitar and the guitar solo on this song is fantastic. The drumming is great. Everything about this song is great. I cannot stress that enough. If you haven't listened to Indestructible in a while, please, 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 please go listen to that song right after you're done watching this video, because I told you to. Alright, time to give Disturbed my overall band rating. And I am not going to do my deliberation on this one because I know what I'm going to give them. I give Disturbed a 9.5 out of 10. This 9.5 out of 10 rating is the highest rating I have given up to this point. This does beat out Linkin Park's 9 out of 10, Atreyu's 8 out of 10, Pierce the Veil's 7 out of 10, Sleeping with Sirens 7 out of 10, and 10 Years 6 out of 10. They blow them out of the water because this band is utterly fantastic. I've gone into David Draymond's vocals like crazy. How great that vocal sound is and how unique it is. It's like Freddie Mercury's vocals, but metal. It is just... oh man, you can't replicate that, and it really hits your soul on so many levels. The distorted guitar is something that is so unique to them because when you hear that sound that their distorted guitar makes, you know this is a Disturbed song. This is going to be Disturbed, and this is going to be utterly fantastic. They can do ballads well, even like they did the Sound of Sounds. I think Hold On to Memories is good. I think Darkness is great. And I wish they wouldn't have done so many ballads again in Evolution, but then again, I can't complain too much because the 6 previous albums were just mind-blowingly great. This band has done so much for the millions of followers that they have. I've talked to people about this, about how they've influenced them and how they help them get out of bad situations and help them get past what they're going through. They helped me as well in middle school, in college, after college. I mean, they still help me out to this day, and I cannot wait to go and see them in 2019 for the first time. I got pit tickets for them, so I'm just going to be so excited for that right now. I'm giddy, guys. And the giddiness only comes when you truly connect with a band. This band is one that you truly can connect with because they are so different, especially with that vocal range. My God, this band is almost perfect. And that's why they get that 9.5 out of 10, the highest rating I've given up to this point. Alright, well that's it for the review. Thank you for watching the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today band review on one of my favorite bands of all time and will forever remain there, Disturbed. If you think I hit the nail on the head with my review, give me a like. If you don't think I did, give me a dislike. If you want to tell me why, hit up those comments below. I'll get the notification that you commented on them, and guess what? I'll read them, and I will respond to you. Trust me on this. I love talking to you guys. If you want to stay up to whenever I put out a new video, usually every single Wednesday, or if I put out a special one, hit that subscribe button down below and that bell icon because then you'll be notified every single time we put out a new video. If you're not following any of our social media accounts, holy hell, what are you doing? Because we're putting out killer content on all those platforms. So if you're not liking our Facebook page, or you're not following our Twitter account, or you're not actively following our Instagram page, everyone, what are you doing? I've got links in the description below. Go and follow those. Subscribe to them. Please, I'm begging you. Also, lastly, if you have an Amazon Echo, Amazon Alexa, and you are not subscribe to the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today Alexa skill, what are you doing? It is absolutely 100% free, and you get a new song of the day every single day, no questions asked. I update the song every single day, so it's going to remain fresh, remain new, and you're never going to get the same old song ever, really. I mean, I might give a same song, after a year, but you're not going to get the same song over and over and over again, or the same band over and over and over again. So how do you get that? If you have your smartphone out, go and click in the link in the description below, and it'll take you to the Amazon Alexa app, and you just have to hit Enable Our Skill, and boom, it's on. Or you can say, hey Alexa, enable My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today, and it'll be on your Amazon Echo device. And then all you have to just do is say, hey Alexa, play my song of the day. And when you say that, what'll happen is, all of a sudden, you'll hear a little bit of an intro by me, maybe 5 seconds, and then the song will play in its entirety. And then once it's done, it's done. You can listen to it again if you want to. All you have to do is say the same thing. Hey Alexa, play my song of the day, and you get to listen to it all day, every day, as many times as you want, and then the next day, you can do it again with a completely different song. This is kind of where we're really going off of here, so if you guys have an Alexa, please enable our skill. It means so much to us. Thank you. And that's going to be it for me, so thank you for watching. This is Kevin from My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 Today. As always, I end with a see ya!